This week on This Is Gravel, we talk about bike packing, we talk the weather, and what else, Neil?
Bobby's new event.
Bobby's new event, that and more on This Is Gravel. Hey, welcome back to This Is Gravel here on Gravel Guru. Neil, how are you?
Not too bad, Matt. Not too bad. Finally starting to enjoy some of the spring weather that we've been having.
Some of the spring weather as we talk about potentially 2 inches of snow tonight.
Yeah, spring weather.
Tonight as we're filming this show, or yesterday as you're watching the snow. So we'll see if we actually get any.
Yeah, I know that when we've talked about weather before, it's usually gone the exact opposite of whatever we said. So if we say 2 inches of snow...
Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow.
Yeah, we might have nice sunny day tomorrow and get out and ride bikes.
Not blizzard with the wind?
We'll see, man. The wind has been rough this spring. You know, that's one of the things I think about Kansas that a lot of people have forgotten since we haven't had events over the last few years.
I have not forgotten.
Well, we have not, but I think a lot of people have probably that don't reside around here just how bad the wind is. And I think we looked it up, and what is it, 20 days out of the last 50 have had gusts at least at some point of over 40 miles an hour.
Yeah, I think we're close to at least, we know we had an official number of, what was it, 17 in the first 40 days?
17 in the first 40.
Had 40 mile an hour plus wind gusts.
And we know one day at least after that for sure was, and we believe at least 2 or 3 others because...
Yeah, one of those days we were on the bike.
Yeah, one of those days Matt and I experienced that gust. We were riding up to Council Grove.
46 mile an hour gust?
Yeah, they were 40 plus. I think even some places where the front came through
51.
said around 55. I mean,
Wow.
And it was an unreal wind.
So this is one thing I think it's worth talking about, wind in itself. And we need to get Frank Waugh from Wichita on the show sometime, an actual meteorologist to talk weather with us and cycling. I think that's an interesting topic. But one way I've heard riding into the wind for folks that live places where there's not wind, which just blows my mind to even think about, is it's like a constant uphill. Just that grind it puts on you.
Well, I mean, for instance, when we were riding into a wind. Let's just be clear. We were riding into a wind when we were up on our way to Council Grove. That was probably a consistent 15 to 20 anyways.
Consistently on the way up. Sustained.
Yes, sustained on the way up, 15 to 20 the whole way. And we weren't doing terrible. We were probably making about 13 mile an hour average. I think up to that point we were doing well into the wind. Not killing it, but also not killing ourselves. And when we hit that front that just came through, we grinded almost to a halt.
Yeah. No, I mean, it was almost a negative halt, like backwards. I know I looked down, and I was in the drops as tight as I could get tucked in on the bars. And again, we both had bikes with frame bags on us, so we were not real arrow into a crosswind on it, but we turned a road to head up to the nature trail there, and I thought it was going to dump us. And we have a lot of experience riding in wind.
Yeah, I've ridden a lot of wind, like I say, but it's been really windy here, so I've been enjoying the spring weather some. Part of the spring weather that I have been enjoying is the fact that we got a lot of wind this spring, but it's been nice to get out on the bike a little more at least.
Yeah. Well, for me, more than the wind, the daylight. Daylight.
Yes.
And speaking of lights, we're going to talk about lights and some new lights we're trying out on our bike at the end of the show today. We unboxed some last night, took them out riding, and we'll share that at the end of today's show.
But even that, like I say, the daylight, last night we tested those lights out, and we had to be out at least past 8:30 to actually turn the lights on and see them.
I think it was like, 9:15 when we got home?
Yeah. And so...
Which, I was talking to my wife about that last night when we got home. I'm like, how did we go from 9 o'clock being super late, trying to stay up during the winter, trying to stay entertained in the house till 9 to you're rolling in at 9:15 and go, where'd the evening go?
Yeah, we were making it back from our rides a lot of times at, 6:15 or so. And then it seems just like that. I mean, overnight almost. I mean, I know it hasn't been. It's probably over the last month and a half. But over the last month and a half, we've gone from rides ending around 6 o'clock, 6:30 to being able to stay out till 9:15 like we did last night. And that's awesome, too, because I enjoy being able to ride into the night a little bit more, having the warmer weather to be able to stay out a little bit later. And definitely, of course, obviously daylight.
Speaking of wind, one thing I have to say is absolutely blown away by Bobby Thompson's event this year.
Yeah.
First time event, the Flint Hills Gravel Ride up in Americus. We spent probably, both 4 hours-ish just volunteering.
Yeah, just went up there as a volunteer. Went out to help out, and a lot of the locals were doing just that. There were a lot of locals riding in the event, too. But a lot of us were just helping Bobby out. And I'll tell you what, Bobby did a fantastic job. I actually saw Bobby yesterday and told him just that. I thought he did just a great job. I mean, it was well done all around. I could tell talking to him, it took a lot out of he gave it all. He gave it all to that event to make sure that it went off as well as it did. And he's still in recovery mode, kind of from.
I spoke with him today over text messages for a while. And what was that? 2 weeks ago? A little over 2 weeks ago now. Not this past weekend, but the weekend before.
Yeah, so a week and a half ago.
10 days ago. Yeah. 10 days ago. Still recovering from it, but did a fantastic job. And actually, me and him talked today. Later this week, I'm going to sit down and interview him for a podcast, an audio only. The link will be on our Facebook and everything. Trying to get some audio content back going, but it's going to be a sit-down interview, just kind of labeled Conversations with a First-Time Race Director. I think any of us that have ever gone to a gravel race or been involved with this climate, the circuit of events, have always said, man, wouldn't it be fun to go out and do our own race? So we're going to find out kind of the behind the scenes, the nitty gritty, what it took to put on an event. He had 300 participants up there, and I just don't have enough good things to say about.
Really, I don't. I mean, and again, not knowing. I mean, you know, we know Bobby. We've known Bobby for a while. And when he puts his mind to something, he does it, no doubt. But you're still wondering, okay, here we are. We're kind of starting to get, hopefully, towards the tail end of this pandemic. We haven't been at events. What is this all of a sudden going to be like being back at one, and how is this going to go for him doing it his first time out there? And what is honestly still, I mean, the area that he had it ride through is still kind of an iconic-ish part of the Flint Hills up there where they rode. And so how's it going to go? And, dude, I walked away that Saturday saying, wow. I mean, and I'm not saying that because Bobby's my friend. I would have said that if I was standing there next to somebody I didn't even know who was running that event, running it the same way. Wow, I think he did, a fantastic job.
And in all fairness, he's also said there's things I can do better next year. And I think every event you have to walk away and there's things you learn and things you improve upon.
Well, and the thing is, too, he's seeing everything that probably we don't see. You know, we saw a lot. He knows there's things, though, that are still there that can definitely be improved. And just like any of us and things that we kind of put our mind to, we can look at it afterwards and say, you know, we probably could have done that a little bit better. So I know there's things that are probably he can't wait till next year in April where he can improve on them and make it an even greater event.
Yeah, absolutely with that. Some other things we've been up to. You talked about the ride up to somewhat Council Grove before we turned around and rode the Tailwind home.
We were almost there, too.
Yeah, we were like, 6 miles out or something. Yeah. But it was the right move to turn home. We still got a 40-plus mile ride in.
I couldn't imagine going, and this is just the reality, I couldn't imagine riding even for 6 to 7 miles into a 50-mile-an-hour wind. We rode maybe a half a mile into it before we pulled off on that side road, and we're like, yeah, no.
Well, I think it's like we talked about there, comforting ourselves on the way home. There was no point in continuing. We were out for a Friday night, fun ride, get out, trying to get some base miles in.
And trying to get some pizza at Casey's.
Yeah.
Yeah, sore subject.
Yeah. I'm still not recovered. If you're going to be open, if your kitchen's open, 7:20 on a Friday night, you should be able to get a slice of pizza. I would have bought a whole pizza.
I would have, yeah. I'd bought 2, if that's what it took.
You would have bought 2 pizzas that night?
If it took that, so they would have opened the kitchen or had the kitchen make some pizzas.
Because I know you're not going to eat 2 pizzas there and have to ride the 10 miles home.
I would have. I've got friends in America, so I'd have dropped it off at their house and picked it up the next day.
Okay, so you wouldn't have tried to carry it?
No. I don't think I could have carried that pizza in that. Even with that tailwind, I don't think I could have carried the pizza home.
I think this sounds like a challenge.
Maybe in the summer we do a pizza
Maybe in the summer, pizza ride. Well, they got to make the pizza first.
Yeah, true.
Okay, moving on. Speaking of other places we had a challenge getting food, we went bikepacking.
Yeah, so obviously on our last show we talked about doing the 12 nights under the stars, and we talked about getting everybody out there, doing some bikepacking, getting a cool sticker that Matt just showed there, and we got our first one in finally. We went just before I headed out on vacation, back towards the end of the month of March. We were just quick trip down to Opie. Neither of us, crazily enough that I know of, I don't think you said you hadn't either, haven't been down to Opie, which is just 12 miles south of here, and camped out at the lake.
Correct. No, I'd never been. I've been down to the lake. I've drove through it before. I've rode around it. My wife teaches in that area of the county every single day.
Well, yeah, I've been down to the lake before. I've never went down there to the bike pack, which is just, again, just crazy because I've bike packed at other lakes around here. I think 3 or 4 other lakes around here I've bike packed at before, but the one that is closest to us, I hadn't been to yet. And so me and Matt talked about, hey, let's go down and let's go to this one and check it out and see, if this is a good spot for us to get some quick sub 24s in.
And real quick, let's kind of break up the trip, how it went through. Let's just start with this quick clip of our journey down there. Let's take a look. Neil.
Hey, Matt.
What was that? What is this?
Some pretty big rocks that they put down in the road for us. They want to make bikepacking more fun.
Did they do it like 5 minutes ago?
Sure seems like it, because there's not a groove in sight. It was rough.
What is this wind like? Let me get some mic noise in here.
It's probably about, what, 15, you'd say, maybe 20 out of the south?
Which way are we going?
South.
Yeah.
Yeah. you can see it there probably pretty well on the grass that's blowing. It's going a little bit, but whatever. We'll get there, right?
Okay. Again, wind and big gravel.
Yeah, so again, this is Kansas in the spring. Whether it is the snow that we get or the spring precipitation, the rain that we get, the new gravel finds its way out into the roads. And I'm kid you not when I'm saying some of those were the size of my fist. I mean, there was some big, chunky rocks that we fought through for at least, probably 2 miles there?
Yeah, I would guess at least 2 miles of it. And then the weird thing for me this year is it seems like the gravel out there, we're used to a mile stretch of new.
Yeah.
It's patchy, it seems like this year, where it's like 2 miles was brand new gravel on that route that day.
Yeah.
But then you'd come across sections that were 100, 300 feet of new gravel, so you might look down a road and see what looks nice, and then all of a sudden at the bottom of the hill...
Yeah, I don't know what that is either, but I know we've experienced it a lot around here where it seems like they just took the last little bit that was in the truck and just dumped it on this stretch or here or that stretch there. But yeah, we've had some just sections where it's just a couple feet, it seems like. But boy, those 300 feet, when you're rolling well and all of a sudden you hit those.
Do I want to say, it's been a while, but we averaged something like a 10-mile-an-hour average on the way down there.
I think we were a little bit quicker than that. If you figure in the stopping time to film and other things of that nature, yes.
Yeah.
I think we were a hair quicker, but we were also into the wind. Again, that was another wind. That was another 40-mile-an-hour gust night. I mean,
yeah. It felt like you were in like a Walmart sack blowing in the wind in the tent. I mean, it was just a constant. I wasn't sure the tents were going to be there.
Well, yeah. So we got down there. We got down to the camp and we started setting up. And I learned a really valuable lesson myself that day. I'm new in the bike packing. I've done a lot of camping before. I've enjoyed doing the camping before. But I've done probably, again, half a dozen, maybe 10 total bike packing trips throughout my entire time. And I got out there and I start unpacking my front compression sack that has my tent in it. It's got my rain fly in it. Well, the first thing that I put into it was my sleeping bag. Well, I have to take that, or the last thing, that I put in was the sleeping bag.
So it's the first thing out.
Yes, the first thing out I had to take out was the sleeping bag. Well, man, the wind is blowing, and I'm trying to hold on to my sleeping bag while getting my tent set up so that it doesn't blow into the pond, the lake that is right there behind us.
And we actually camped. You're seeing the video of it, some B-roll from the day, or that night setting up there. We camped very close to the lake, and we were here. The lake was here, and the wind was blowing across the campsite. It would have taken nothing to lose a bag into the lake.
Oh, yeah. No, actually, so after we got in our tents that night, that's exactly what I did because, we were setting things up in the wind, and it was actually really kind of tough to set up in the wind that day. And after I did it, I was just kind of quickly stuffed the bag that has my tent stakes in it, the bag that would have...
You took tent stakes?
Yeah, I did that, man. Unlike some other people I know. But I did that bag, the one that my pillow's in, the one that my sleeping pad is in, all of those bags, I just kind of tossed them loosely around my bike. And thankfully, somehow they were still all there when I got up and went and grabbed them before actually falling asleep. Because all I was thinking was, man, the wind is picking up even more now. And these are going to be in the pond, and I'm not going to have these bags.
So anyways, we get set up there. getting ready to kind of eat some food. You took food.
Yeah,
I took food.
I had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I can't eat some of those campside meals.
No, you've never tried them.
Okay, yes, you're right. The thought of them disgusts me.
But
I need to try them. I'll try them.
I didn't really try too hard. I took like one of the beef stroganoff ones out there with the little pocket rocket stove. And the wind was so hard, I could not hardly get the water hot enough.
Yeah,
boiling.
You had the beef stroganoff, I think, last time we went out too in May, and you seemed to like it.
I loved it. It just did not work this night out there. So anyways, we're Opie Lake.
Yeah,
we're,
Opie, it's town.
We're like 2 miles away from food.
Yeah.
So we thought.
Yeah, go to the gas station. It's closed at 7 o'clock. Again, 7 o'clock. Something about 7 o'clock.
Let's just take a look.
What are we doing, Neil? Going back into Opie, get some snacks, get breakfast, stuff like that. Neil, what's going on? Man, I tried to open the door. It's closed. Supposedly they closed at 6 p.m. tonight instead of the 9 p.m. that they usually close at, and so my tummy wants a little bit more food, both tonight and for breakfast, and it's not going to get it.
So, anyways, I think from the clip, you can tell we might have been hungry and really hoping for some gas station food.
Yeah, I had my peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I mean, that was nice, but after riding into the wind, I needed a little bit more. I was hoping to get not just a little bit more to munch on that evening, but also maybe something for the morning as well.
Yeah, I was honestly more looking forward to grabbing like a package of donuts or some junk food to have because we had a tight timeline in the morning.
Yeah.
But anyways, I guess we need full disclosure on this. This was intended to be a shakedown ride.
Yes.
That's all this was, and I will say we are thoroughly shaken down. And we learned a lot of things.
Well, I think, if push came to shove, and this is one of the things too, just reality with it. The chicken house was there. We could have ordered up some chicken. There were
choices,
odds and options. Sure, breakfast, however, in the morning would have been a different story. Fluids, extra water for the morning. Thankfully, we both had more than enough with us to get down there and to get the 12, 15 miles back. But it lessons learned, things that you have to be aware of that you always, you can't always rely. Sometimes I would say on maybe some small town gas stations.
Well, and I think the thing that shocked us about it was how many times have we stopped there for food on rides?
Probably close to 100 if you want me to real.
We were absolutely shocked for it to be closed. Everybody deserves a vacation. No fault on them.
Oh yeah, no, it was just shocking, but it's a lesson learned. The thing is, if again we weren't doing what we were doing and say we were taking a longer trip somewhere else, we would have had to ride onto the next town the next day because they also didn't have anyone covering the store on Sunday, so they were going to be closed Sunday, so we couldn't even stop in the morning for breakfast and grab anything. So again, there's lessons. I think there's a lot of lessons to learn from it. One, I'm not going to pack my sleeping bag as the first thing that I take out of my stuff sack. It's now the first thing in. I actually have kind of a pattern now of what I need and when I need it.
We learned those lessons. I am going to admit we did have some help that night. We had a friend bring up some firewood to have a fire going. Because that was the thing. Right there for about 3 hours at dusk, once camp was set up, the wind died.
Yes.
Which was nice to sit around there after I tried making food. But we could stand around a fire for 2 hours with no worry about the wind or anything like that.
After the sun went down, it did. The wind died. And I would say
10 o'clock, 11
Not even 5 minutes after we got in the tent.
Yeah, it came up. The wind was howling.
I legitimately was wondering whether or not my tent would be secured.
I was very worried. I was pretty sure the tent would be there because I was laying in it.
Yeah.
I was not sure my tent poles would be intact from the wind.
Dude, it was unreal.
Anyways, next morning, we jump up. What did we have to do?
Had to pack up quick and get moving because we went out on a Saturday night, and Minister of Gravel is not just a fun little name. I actually am a minister, as we've told the audience before. And so Sunday morning, I got to preach. I got to be at church. 9:30, we start class. I'm usually there at least by 8:30. This time around, I got there probably about 9 o'clock, right before 9 o'clock, which is okay. I can get there a little bit late. I'd already planned a lot of things ahead of time because I knew that. But it was a get on the bike, get home, get showered, get changed, and go to work.
It was very much for me. I do the streaming stuff very similar to this for Neil on Sunday mornings up there. It was very much, I told my wife when I came in the house, I'm like, I'm just getting in the shower, and I refused to sit down because I was afraid if I sat down, I would not want to have got back up and get out the door.
No, I actually got into the house and made coffee, turned the coffee on, went up, took a shower, came downstairs, grabbed the coffee, got dressed, and walked next. Yeah.
And all things considered, it was a sub 24 hour. That's what we had planned.
Yeah.
That was the goal, was to get out, show that you can do this on a work night, any weeknight, get out, get it done. And all things considered, I had a great time.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, like you said, it shows that you can do it at any point at any time. I mean, we could go and do it on a Monday or a Tuesday or a Wednesday or Thursday or whenever we need to be at work the next day, and it's not that big a deal. They don't have to be just on a Friday night or a Saturday night for folks. You have, I think a lot of options, and you can get out there and you can get these in. You can do a sub 24. You don't have to go on some long bike packing trip on, the Tour Divide Trail or on the Katy Trail.
Do you know what sounds like more fun than getting one of these nights in?
What, Matt?
Getting 12 nights in for 12 nights under the stars. Head over to gravelguru.com/under the stars to get signed up. Stickers are going out this week.
Yes.
They are going out this week, and I will say we are a couple weeks delayed on it, only because we've had a really good reception to it and had to order more supplies already. We've got about 100 people registered. I figured it would be us and maybe 10 or 15 people sign up for this thing.
Yeah, me and Matt have talked about it, guys. We're blown away by the response to this. Like I say, about 100 people so far. And if I'm not mistaken, last time I looked at the breakdown of everything, I believe about 20-25% of those are women.
Yeah.
That are part of this as well, which I was personally blown away seeing that, because it's like, wow, like it's not just, reality is most of the bikepacking trips I've done around here have been a bunch of guys getting out.
Yeah.
So it was awesome to see a bunch of women sign up, want to be a part of this, want to get out and do this as well with us and share their experience.
Lots of states represented, several foreign countries represented. Again, get signed up for it. There is no obligation. You don't get your 12 nights in, you don't get your 12 nights in.
And you still get a sticker.
And I think the best part is, and I don't know if you've enjoyed it quite as much as I have yet, but when they get signed up, you can join our Facebook group. We have a private Facebook group out there that right now has got about 50 people in it, but it's great for just seeing where people are riding and any questions. It's intended to be a very safe place to ask any bikepacking questions. We had one guy that was going out for a 2-week journey, had to call it on day 3. And very openly shared his experience on it just this past weekend and posted a video there. And things got very serious very quickly for them, just as they were down in Australia, so different seasons. But just how hot it got and that type of thing. So it's a very safe place. So get signed up, and there's going to be some perks.
Yeah.
And speaking of those perks, we're going to cut to a video clip like we talked about earlier in the show. We've got an ambassador coming on to talk about some products. They sent us some products to try out, Light in Motion, and we got it in the studio yesterday, opened those, and we took them for a ride. We are going to do an unboxing. I know. We haven't done a ton of unboxings or reviews at all in general on the show before.
Yeah.
We've kind of tried to veer away from that. There's some great people that do it, but I guess we're in the review game and showing off product right now. You know why?
Why is that?
Because Light in Motion sent us an awesome box.
What?
You know why Light in Motion sent us an awesome box?
I don't know, Matt. Why don't you tell me?
Well, because Light in Motion, I reached out to their marketing team, and they're going to help us promote Under the Stars, the 12 Nights Under the Stars initiative this year. We talked earlier in March. Absolutely love the idea of it. And one thing that is crucial to bikepacking success, especially in the fall and winter, is having good lights.
Yeah, when we took our first outing here, we definitely needed some light on that outing at different times, both riding in the evening, riding in the morning, but also when you get to camp setting up. So lights are crucial.
Yeah. So huge thanks to Light in Motion. I'm actually going to hand this box over to Neil here, and let's just open it up and see what they sent us. These are demo lights they've sent for Neil and I to try out, and they're actually going to have giveaways for people that are signed up under gravelguru.com/under the stars. Get signed up, get your 12 nights in, and we're going to have some drawings for some great products. Light in Motion is one of the brands coming on board to help us out. So, Neil, let's just see what they sent us to try out.
All right. Let's see if I can do this without damaging anything.
Gentle with the knife.
Gentle with the knife, he says.
Watch your fingers mainly.
Good. All right. Don't want to cut a finger. That'd be really bad to go to the hospital right now.
In the middle of a show?
In the middle of the show. Yeah, that would be bad. All right. What do we got here? We got a box. Paper.
They sent us paper?
No, Matt. They did not send us paper.
Okay, first up.
All right. This Viz 360 Pro Plus Adventure Light. And I believe there's one of those here for both you and I to demo. Do I have to?
Yeah. Hand it over. I want to see the light.
Okay, awesome. So this one looks like it is a light that we could use on our helmets. It is one that you can wear. It looks like either on a helmet or on your head if you were out even running. So different types of adventure. One that you could.
Whoa. If you were what?
If you were running around your campsite trying to find things in the dark, you never let me finish my sentence.
Okay, that's fair. Running around the campsite after you've been bikepacking.
Correct, yes. And you didn't know where you put something down and you needed to go find it, you could run around the campsite and find it.
Good save.
Man, tough audience. Okay, so that one looks fantastic, and I'll be honest with you, I'm excited. I haven't even seen the second one yet. I haven't even looked, but I'm excited about this because I've been known for setting up everything at camp in the dark. I've gone on multiple bikepacking trips where we get to the campsite after it's already dark, and I'm setting up my tent blind. Now, I've gotten used to doing that, but it would really be nice to have some light.
Again, this is the Viz VIS 360 Pro Plus Adventure Light. Neil, I'm one that already runs a headlight quite a bit on my helmet. Have you ever run a light on your helmet?
I have not. No, this will be a new thing for me. I'm actually pretty excited about getting to try this out, getting to see how it works.
Yeah, the last couple of years, I've run a light. It's just a self-contained, has a couple AAA batteries in it right there. I love it because you're always riding in the dark and you're like, do I hear something in my tire? Am I going flat? Anything like that. I love just to be able to reach up, turn it on real quick.
Or the deer that pops out of the grass in the middle of nowhere.
In the middle of nowhere, 10 feet in front of you.
Yeah.
Just to see that stuff. So I already love a helmet light, so I'm looking forward to this. The cool thing about this is it's got its own battery pack that goes on the back of the helmet that has a little red light there. I think that should draw a lot of attention. We all have them on the back of our seat bags, on the seat post. I look forward to that. Just I think for motorists out there, where your head's moving, back and forth as you're looking around, I see that being a huge safety feature. That's just 25 lumen taillight right there on the top of the helmet. That should be great. I look forward to it.
Yeah, it got a little thing on here too, just safer, powerful side lights with safe pulse. So we know that for us as cyclists, especially when riding in the dark, safety is key. You want to be seen. You don't want to be hidden to the cars, to the vehicles out there, because some of us, the only time we can ride is when it is dark, when it is a little bit later, and we often get caught out there. And you don't want to get caught out there and not be seen.
And I think that's the thing. The headlight is 600 lumens for the helmet, and the taillight's 25. I think the 25 is just going to be enough where it's not absolutely blinding. I know I've rode with other people that it's hard to be behind them because that red light is so intense, which is great when you're out there riding by yourself and for cars and stuff, but sometimes it just makes it hard on the eyes.
Yeah. All right, I'm getting excited. Sorry, I keep shuffling.
Okay, fine. What's the next
I want to see what else is in here. All right. So it's not as much of a surprise to me, but this looks like our traditional handlebar mount headlight. It is the Seika 1500. Yes, Seika Comp 1500. So the 1500 refers to the 1500 lumens that it's going to put off. I will hand one again to you. I don't want to not let you get your hands on one. But this boy looks like it is going to be bright. I don't know about you, but the headlights that I run on my bike are not 1500 lumens. I think the most mine puts off is about 700.
Okay. So you're more than doubling on this one.
Correct. And I don't even run it at that level a whole lot. This one here, it looks like it has 3 or 4 different levels, So it's got your pulse level at 375 lumen, which is always nice. I've run the pulse level a lot of times on long events where I'm out in the dark for a long time, and I don't necessarily need to see as much as have other people see me and know and be aware of
it. And even at pulse mode, that's 375 lumens. I want to say the pulse mode on my current one is maybe 100 lumens.
It's down there, but it's also 375 lumens for 9 hours of runtime. Too. And then it runs also as standard 375. Its middle range which is still higher than my normal range, is 750 lumens. And that has a 3-hour run rate, which, again, I'm not accustomed to having on my highest level by any means. And then if you run it at that full 1500, which I know I don't usually run mine at the full rate on, most times, except for when I come back into town. When I come into town, I'm going to make sure everybody can see me. I'm going to make sure that when I'm riding on the pavement, every car that's out there is knowing that I'm out there. And so at 1500 lumens, it has an hour and a half. That is still pretty good run time, I would say, for that hour or for that 1500 lumen.
You know what they say, any trail, any time.
Any trail, any time.
So I look forward to getting these out. Again, the Seika Comp 1500, and we've got the Viz 360 Pro Plus. Cannot say enough great things about just working with the marketing team at Light in Motion. They're just fantastic. They're they respond immediately when we send something, which is not always the case for anybody that's ever put on events or anything. You send out a lot of emails and don't ever get a response back, but the team over there has been great, and they're going to be huge supporters of Under the Stars. Get signed up, gravelguru.com/Under the Stars. We're going to try starting probably in May, giving out a monthly giveaway leading up to it. Neil, what is our goal now? Now that we have the lights, we have them physically in our hands.
We need to go ride bikes, Matt.
It is time to go ride bikes. So we're going to jump out of the studio. Next, you're going to see here on this video, we're going to have them mounted up on the helmets and the bike, and we're going to ride into the dusk tonight and maybe even into the night and see what we see with the new lights.
Sounds good.
Okay, obviously we're out of the studio now, out here on a good bike ride. I've got my helmet mounted one up here on top. Neil's got his up here.
Yep.
What are your thoughts so far, Neil?
So far, I mean, it's comfortable, to be honest with you. I mean, I haven't noticed it's there physically yet. We haven't got dark enough yet to turn it on. But the fact that I don't notice it's there, that was something that, I've never wore, again, a helmet light before. So I wasn't sure if I'd feel it, if it would be there bothering me. Light, honestly, don't even notice it.
Yeah, I'll say the only thing with getting the one on the helmet, it took a good 10-15 minutes to get figured out the first time. After this, it'll be easy to get on and off moving forward. So I'm going to turn the camera on to let Neil show us where his other light is.
So my headlight that I have is right here up on front, the Seika. The 1500, I got it mounted on the bottom of the aero bar. I'm really excited about getting turned that on. I have a feeling that when I do, it will light up the road in front of me tonight. It's going to be awesome.
Great, so we're about 10, 15 miles from home now. Sun is setting, and we just kind of actually waited around out here for a while to let the sun set so we could be out here in the dark, and I think we're going to go ride some night miles. They're not fully charged up yet from when we were in the studio, so we don't have a full battery life to judge them off that and how long they last, but that'll be coming over the next couple months as we do some real rides at night and stuff. Stay tuned.
What's up, Matt?
Not much, Neil. How are you?
Good.
What do you think of that?
I, again, have never had a helmet light before, and so the fact that I can turn and have light lighting up everything right now wherever I'm looking, it's pretty rad. Like it.
Dude, really? A lot of nights, like our night rides, I could get by with just this.
I think you could. I mean, when it blinks, dude, it lights up.
Okay, Neil, what'd you think of those lights?
Dude, so honestly, so far I love them. The headlamp, I was blown away. I'm still blown away, honestly, by that. We've had these conversations on rides before. Haven't really had the conversation before on the show, but having this headlamp attached to the top of my helmet, high vis, right?
It's the Viz 360 Pro Plus. I've got it in my notes because I wanted to get it right.
I knew Viz was part of it. So
the funny thing, you were like in love with this helmet mounted light by the time we got home last night. And the funny thing is, I've worn another brand of helmet lights for 2 years.
Yeah, and I make fun of Matt occasionally.
And he would just mock me at night out there on the rides. And and what were your thoughts?
Again, dude, totally blown away. One, just the fact that, again, it's named 360 because you can be seen, first of all, 360. You got a headlight. It has side lights on the light, and then the rear one. So how visible we were. And that was noticeable, too, even though we have rear blinkies on our bike, and we've had them on there for a long time. But the fact we were very visible to cars, we were given a lot of space as we were coming back into town on what was a busier gravel road than most.
That's what blew my mind. The amount of room cars gave us when we met them. We were running the Seika Comp 1500. They were bright. One thing I will say is I've run 800 lumen, 700 lumen lights before. You see about as far with both of them. What this 1500 lumen light did was it just spread the beam pattern, and you could see fence to fence on the road. Well, I mean...
And not just that. I mean, at one point, just talking about the Seika for a second, I looked back over my shoulder at you. You had taken a stop, and I looked back over my shoulder at you, and there was a vehicle coming, and your light was brighter. The Seiko was brighter than the car headlights, and I was just like... And they weren't... I mean, the car was right next to you, basically, but your light was blowing away, at least in brightness, the car headlights, which kind of... Again, surprised me. Yeah. But back to the Viz 360 for a second. So it's not just the 360 vision that people could see us. Obviously, being able to see and everything and look around. But even as I got home, okay, and this might just be a silly one for me, but I got home, and like you mentioned earlier in the show, we rode till about 9:15. Got home, the lights in the house are already off, family's to bed. I don't want to go through and start turning on all the lights within the house, even though it's downstairs versus upstairs. I had that on, and like I was able to get to where I needed to put all of my stuff away, no problem. Could see in the house, and just...
I bet the neighbors thought someone was robbing it or something.
It was a little... So that was the one thing. It was like, you know, I'd look around as I'm riding down the street, and like I'm shining a light.
Yeah, you had to remember. Once we got back to town, you had to remember you were shining a light in people's yards and stuff.
I was shined a light in every single neighbor's house. Because I just, you know, you kind of ride down the street and just look and make sure everything's kind of, you know, standard. And all of a sudden, I'm like, okay, I just shined that in everybody's window.
I will say this is not the last you'll hear us talk about these lights. Several different products from Light in Motion. Last night we got about a 20-minute use case out of them.
Yeah, it was very, like I say, we did turn them on about 8:30, 8:45 because it was not quite dark enough yet. But we enjoyed them on the way back in. We got to experience them, like you say, in a very brief time period. But yeah, this isn't the last what you'll hear of it. And not only have they sent these for us to try out, but as I believe we mentioned in the clip earlier, there's hopes that we're going to be sharing some of this with you all here.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Light in Motion intends to send some for giveaways for people signed up. So go get signed up. There is no obligation.
Yeah, be a part of this. Sign up. You know, and again, the coolest thing is you get a sticker, and the stickers are pretty rad. I'm not going to lie.
Sticker and an event log, and we'll get you signed up.
Being close enough to Matt like this, I already got my sticker. It's already placed on a little book that I'm keeping track of all of my bikepacking nights right now and keeping track of the lessons that I've learned on those trips so far.
Yep. Anyways, I'm looking forward to it. I'm glad spring's here.
Absolutely.
We're out on the bikes again. It feels normal. And as we wrap up here real quick, you're headed on an adventure this weekend.
Yeah, so this weekend I'll be out at Open Range. They have a 200K tour, so it's a race that takes place out in Pratt, Kansas. It's taken place, I believe, since 2018, I want to say was the first year. And I went that first year and I rode the 200K as just a race. And I believe last year was the first year they opened up this 200K tour. It's an overnight. You bike pack out to this ranch out there, and they feed you a nice dinner and breakfast.
Nice.
And then get back on the road and finish it up on Saturday morning.
Well, we can't wait to hear about that when you get home from it. Hopefully everything goes smooth. I'm sure there'll be no wind and the weather will be perfect because it's Kansas.
Exactly.
Anyways, thanks for watching this episode. Make sure you're staying tuned for the podcast coming up with Bobby later in the week. Make sure you're following along on Gravel Guru. Share your adventures. Share your stories. We want to hear from you. Thanks for watching.